But babe, you want to dig into our topic tonight?
Yes, let's go for it.
The topic tonight is, will you marry me? Now, there's a little twist, though, to this a little bit. What do you think? A little bit?
Maybe a little bit.
Now this is,
not really a
although,
twist.
This is, we talk about, the last couple of weeks, we've been really targeting, like, couples.
Yeah.
People in relationships or marital or monogamous relationships. Mm-hmm. But tonight, we may dig in to the singles just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad bit, if y'all don't mind. But it's something
bit.
for everybody,
It
right?
It is. I was about to say, because I learned a whole lot. So It's not even just a one-hitter quitter topic. It ain't just for the singles. It's for everybody. Everybody can learn something.
Absolutely.
And who says you need to learn something, right?
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to talk about the question is, will you marry me? Now, if we're honest, most people, well, at least most human beings desire to have a romantic relationship, and if they don't desire to be married, they do desire to have like some type of companionship or some type of partnership. And even if you look at the animal kingdom, well, some of them be tripping, some animals don't be faithful,
like
they try
bears.
They hit it and quit it, some of them. They be tripping. They dip out on the family. But if you're not an animal, and hopefully none of you here are animals, it's in our DNA. It's in our being. We are hardwired to want to find a partner or somebody to share the things. Well, not always share, because some people stingy, but to partner with.
Companionship.
To want companionship.
Yes, to want companionship.
Absolutely. And we have I don't want to say the next generation, but you have people out here that a lot of times they have this persona, or they feel that they're so powerful as if they don't need anybody.
They don't need
nobody. And you hear people saying, I don't need a man, or I don't need a woman. But I believe if you're a human being, I'm not saying you need one. I'm not saying, but I do believe that a lot of people do desire to have that companionship or to be married. Yep. And some women be like, he don't need to put a ring on my finger. You want him to put a ring on your finger.
Do, yeah.
You do. So everybody want, relationship. Would you agree?
I do agree, 100%.
Right. And a lot of people, most people have this ideal person that they have in their head.
Not to say everybody wants to get married.
Right.
But everybody does desire companionship.
Right.
One way or another, we all desire somebody to love us and for us to give love. We all desire that.
Right. What's up, B? What's going on? Danielle did say like them bears. What? Yes. Tell her about the bears.
No, man. Bears be like raping the women,
and they eat the children,
and then eating the kids when they wake up from hibernation because they be so hungry. Bears aggressive.
Yeah, they are very aggressive. So hopefully we don't have any bear mentality people out here. But for human beings, we all desire to have a relationship.
Yeah.
And we have this ideal person, whether consciously or unconsciously. We have this thought or this avatar, not an avatar, but a person that we feel that's the perfect person for us.
Yes.
A certain height, a certain look, a certain way that they act, maybe a certain a race, So we have these desires, and some people actually have lists. They write down, what I want a man is like this, and I want a man like that, And to be honest, like some lists that people curate or they create, they're very reasonable. Very reasonable, and they're not outlandish, or it's not unreasonable at all. They have certain standards, and certain things that they do desire. However, some of these lists be outrageous, and when you look at some of these lists, they be very vain, right? And they're not sustainable at all.
Yeah, some of them are.
So we need to assess our lists and ask ourselves, are those lists, or if we have just one list, is it really going to sustain our relationship?
Right. That's a good question.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So everybody should have a list, to be honest. Yes. Now, could you had an experience about a person that, had a list or?
Oh my God. So one time I was having a conversation with one of my friends. I'm not going to say her name. This was many years ago. So if she's watching, she probably won't even remember we had this conversation. Right. But we were talking, and, she's older and she's single. She's a little single. She's single. Nothing's wrong with that. Right. But she always, would tell me about what she wanted in a man. But every time she would say things like they were just extremely vain, like none of them were things worthwhile, right? She would be like, yeah, because I'm looking for somebody who, who's tall, got to be at least 6 feet, 6'6", that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody dark, somebody handsome, he got to have good hair. I don't want no kids or nothing like that, but I want him, to have some money so we could play around with, I want him to do this and have this.
Right.
And everything she said was just like all vanity. And I was like, do he need to be kind or, like loving or maybe compassionate at all? And she was like, no, I mean, those things matter. But at this point, I'm not really looking to love, somebody. I'm just, I fall in love later. And I was just like, wow, sweetheart, like all of those things matter. Like, and she wasn't focused or concerned about the things that truly held substance. She was just focused on the outer appearance, what things appeared to be and not what they actually were.
Right. We have a few people commenting here. Like Najma said, your list can change as you grow. Absolutely.
It absolutely does.
It would definitely change because a lot of the main things that you might have desired or looked for. I know men, when we were younger, it's like, I want me a Puerto Rican. She got to have long hair. Back in the day.
I got long hair.
You got long hair.
I got long hair.
She paid for it, but it's
$25.
So we have these things,
$25.
right. And we kind of, we eliminate the things that are honorable, like I want a person that will respect me. I want a person that would love me, a person that would have patience for me, a person that aspire to be more than what they are, or a person that want to attain higher education, or a person that would love my mother or have children, and
a person that's patient,
Yes.
A person that respects his mother, or a person that, has respect for the people around them, a person who maintains a regular 9 to 5, or a person that has a career, or a person who is an entrepreneur who's working diligently at getting it off the ground, like somebody who has substance within themselves, not somebody who just, surfacely looks great, but has nothing to offer.
Right. And we see this, we witness this, especially in single folks, whether it's conscious or it's unconscious, this thing just okay, there you go. I'm having technical difficulties
tonight.
Gonna
be so worried
but we
about
have these particular lists, and like I said, some people have worked very hard, extremely hard, and their list is sort of demanding, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because it's like a woman that went to school, paid her dues, that have her own home and has her own home, and really a hard worker, have dreams and aspirations, and she might have a desire to have an equivalent, or a man that maybe have a little more, or may be even driven more than her, or might have the same religious beliefs or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are reasonable, but like we said before, some people have these unsustainable lists that are so vain, and then they find themselves going after that thing. And when they get that thing, they find out that that thing has no substance.
Yeah.
And they find out that the list of priorities were all out of whack.
Yeah.
They wrote down these lists of things that they wanted, and they got what they wanted.
They did.
That guy had green eyes, but he whooped your tail.
Yeah.
That guy, he was a thug, but now he's dead. He's locked up in jail, and you got 3 kids.
Yeah.
You wanted that woman with the big butt or whatever, but she have no brains. She has no intelligence.
Wow.
There's no connection, on a mental, or the cognitive or intellectual level.
Right.
So we have to really check. So if you are single here, we want you guys to not just write down a list, but examine that list, to check to see if that list is going to, is it really priority? Does he really have to be 6'2"?
Right.
6'3"?
Right.
Is that going to really?
Unless you like 4'8" and you're just trying to, not have a little person as a child. I don't know. If that don't matter, like, does him being 6'2" or 6'6" really matter? Like, if he's 6'6" and he don't love you, or if he's 5'11" and loves the hell out of you, like, so we really have to weigh our options and consider the things that we put on our list, are they really things of substance? Do they really matter? You know?
Right. We have a few comments here. Like Jeremiah said, the question you got to ask yourself is, are you looking for partnership or perfection? Absolutely. Dad said, how about I want somebody that I can love? Oh, absolutely. That should be top priority.
Yeah, that's the number one priority.
Dennis said, I wanted a big booty red bone.
A big booty.
He wanted a big booty red bone. You are a fool. You know, Sharice said, just to let you know, we can't tell your equipment is messing up. Thank you. Good.
But he can tell y'all, he gonna keep on being bothered by it. He gonna keep on being bothered.
Yeah, you know, I need to, you know, perfection isn't real, but I try to, you know, I put my time and effort into this production, and I want to make sure.
For whatever reason, I always feel like when I have a song in my soul, that it comes from like a deep place.
All right.
Like I'm 75 in the old church Baptist choir, and I got on a robe. That's how I see myself a lot of the time.
Yeah, it ain't like that.
I'm sorry.
It ain't like that. But we have a lot of different comments, and we can't go through them all.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, us too. A few people said they pointed out specific things that somebody might want. Danielle said a basketball player. All right, then you got that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing: we can be a little picky. But we just have to make sure that the pickiness or the things that we desire doesn't trump the necessities, or that our priorities, that we prioritize that list in with importance first.
Right.
You know, like if you want a God-fearing man, that should be number one. You know, if you want a fine man, okay, that's fine. You want a good-looking man. But what if he like a little good-looking, but he's still extremely God-fearing? You know, then you probably want to go with him. You know?
No.
No. I mean, you know, you got to settle. You got to compromise sometimes,
you have to compromise.
Right?
You definitely don't have to settle.
Right.
But we do have to compromise, because we also have to remember that just because you wrote a list and you want all of these things, somebody else is checking you off as well. So we better remember that. We gotta also remember that. Like, what are you on somebody's list?
Right. And I have a question for those that are out there that are married, or they desire to be married, or they're just single, you know, just waiting one day, maybe, you know, they'll find somebody special. Did you guys have or had a list, and did you actually write that thing down? So if you actually had a list, whether you took mental notes or you literally wrote it down, put yes or no in the comments. So if you had a list, put yes. If you didn't have a list, put no.
But when you met that someone, did you start checking those things off, like taking mental notes as you were doing, like as y'all were dating? Did you take mental notes like, yeah, got a good car, check. Got a good job, check.
Yep.
Opened up my door, double check.
Right.
You know, real polite, check. Picked up the check.
Right.
You know, like, did you do that? Or were you just like, no, he just needs to be this, and that. And if he's not these things, or if she's not these things, then X, like, be done.
Right. So we have a few things here, babe. I just want to read a few comments.
Okay.
Then you said you got to ask yourself, are you looking for a parking lot or a parking garage?
Woo!
I don't get a parking what? And he said what? Dad said 43 years and never had a list. Great. Mom says she will always be looking if she don't change her priorities. Absolutely.
Yep,
absolutely.
That's so true.
Yeah, or he, because you can desire an external eye candy, but no substance inside. Yes.
Gingy said no list. I should have.
Okay, right. We have a few.
Ginge, ain't nothing wrong with it. We all probably need to have certain mental notes in the back of our head, right? And seriously check them off. And some of those things should be red flags too.
Yes.
Check those off too. Like,
right. But babe, on the flip side, we shouldn't just have a list of wants or desires. We should have a list of don't wants.
Ooh,
and deal breakers. See, a lot of times we talk about the things that we do want, but rarely do you see people talk about the things that they won't tolerate or that they don't want.
That's so good.
Because a lot of times we look for, you know, that desire, or you know, or we look for the things that's going to make us happy. But we really got to dig deep and really know our tolerances. You know ourselves, be self-aware to know some of the things that we will not tolerate.
Like, will you tolerate him telling you to shut up in the middle of a conversation with all your friends around?
Disrespect.
Is that okay? Did you think about that? Like, did you think about him being like, let's come here, let me holler at you real quick. You out here talking too much to these other fellas, but like we all here talking.
Right.
Did you think about that, or did you think about him not ever picking up the check and him always being like, we going 50-50. Like, I'm gonna pay for me and my French fries, and you gonna pay for yours.
I think mom and dad, you guys being on has really changed Toy. I don't know tonight. She's a little different on it.
What I do?
I don't know.
What I do?
She's a little awkward tonight.
Am I awkward?
I'm joking, babe. I'm joking. I'm teasing. See, that's gonna make you
now
even
that's
more
on my
awkward.
list. Now that's on my list right now. And we married. So tonight we're gonna have a whole conversation
I'm not on the list.
about
I'm not
that
on the list.
about that little comment he just made.
I'm teasing.
And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna have a sip.
Well, you know what? I'll have a sip of wine too. Danielle said, nasty feet won't work. Wow.
They won't, Danielle.
Gabby said that she didn't have a list.
Mm-hmm.
Najma said she had a list. Siobhan said she had a list. Shamir said I had a list. My cousin Tanya said she had a list.
What was
Gingy
on y'all
said
list?
No list.
What was on
let's
y'all list?
see.
I want to know.
Erica said my list changed with every encounter. Oh wow, okay.
Wow.
My list changed with every.
Did it change for the better every encounter because maybe you grew or you knew what you started noticing things that you didn't like, or you started jotting down things that were a must? Like what every encounter? I would love to know.
Right. Eugene
That's good
said
stuff.
I made a list and checked it twice. Boom. All right.
Eugene?
Trina said she knew what she didn't want. Mom said I had a list. Wow, that's good. Okay.
Mom, what was on your list?
What was on mine?
I need to know.
Siobhan said I wanted the thug life.
We all
And
wanted a
Big
thug.
Shay Shay out here.
We all wanted a thug.
Yes, absolutely. So we need to create these lists,
Yeah.
you know, and it's important that if you are single, that you do really sit down and just take time, you know, really think about what do you want, and also what don't you want.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times when we get in a relationship and we acquire those things that we do want, and we don't have a list, you know, really saying what we don't want, we compromise because it's like we eliminate, although we might see those red flags, but because we are getting some of the things that we want, you know, we compromise, you know, so it's important, like even in the dating process, that you have that list. So when you're hooking up with a guy, you're going out to dinner, you know, you may want a guy that's not arrogant, or a guy that's that doesn't believe, that's not religious or whatever, or you might want a spiritual guy, or you might want a guy that has a job, or you might want, of course, you should want a guy that has a job, or you might want a woman that you could connect with and not just vain, you know, that have some type of substance. So when you encounter these people, you can actually, you know, kind of bag up, because a lot of times people will compromise and they'll get in a sexual relationship, you know, with those people. Then it'll be 10, 12, 15, 3 babies down the line. And you're like, what in the world did I do?
Yeah.
So it's important that we do know those deal breakers, you know. So if you got to really do that, you know. Would you agree?
And we got to also remember that what you see isn't always what you get. You know, fellas, you might see this girl in the club and she didn't prepped and prime herself, or you might see her at the grocery store. I don't know where you might see her. Or ladies, you might see this man and he just came from the barbershop and he got the freshest cut.
Right.
He cut to death, baby. He looking real good, okay?
Right.
You might see all of that and you might be like, oh, they look good. Oh, I would love to get to know him or her, you know, but you ain't seen all the stuff that went into her becoming who she is, or what you see, or, you know, or what she sees. You don't know that she changed those eyelashes 3 times to get it right. You know, you ain't know she piled up 3 pounds of makeup to, you know, get it right. My husband posted a picture of me last week and tried to roast me real bad. But what you see ain't always what you get. You know, you might see her tight and right, but you don't know that it's 3 pair of Spanx underneath that dress, that summer what's the dress called? Now I can't even think of that summer sundress.
The sundress.
It's 3 pair of Spanx underneath that summer sundress, and those thighs are sweating.
Yes, yeah.
You have no idea.
Right, and Cherie said we confuse sex with love.
We do. A lot of times we confuse sex with love, and we
Absolutely.
confuse what we see, that idea of what we see, with that's what I'm going to get. That's the package.
Right.
And that's not always the package.
Right. So we want to, you know, like, you know, either We want to. I know we're not really catering to the married folks tonight, but if you are single, you really want to think about these things.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been through multiple relationships, specifically if you've been divorced before. You can't. A lot of people. You can't afford to keep getting divorced and married, because it can ruin you. It can ruin your children, and it can really confuse you mentally, and it can damage you emotionally. So
Yeah.
before
And it can ruin your experience with
Right.
the right person.
exactly. So
it
choose
really
right.
can.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all should have these lists. But here's a big problem though here. On the flip side of that, some people have so many demands, or they have these desires. They want a guy that have this, a woman that have this. She got to dot this I and cross this T. But here's a big problem in a lot of people. You got to ask yourself, if you're demanding all of these things, will that person date you? If you want a man that makes multiple six figures, you got to ask yourself, you can't just bring booty to the table. Sorry.
Yeah,
And
you can't.
and I'm going to be straight up with you.
Can't.
You just can't. You got to have some type of substance. What do you have to offer? Right.
And if you want him to make that, can you manage it?
Right.
Can you manage it? Can you make it grow?
Right.
Or are you just wanting to have it so that you can spend it?
Right.
Because if he making six figures, he definitely ain't trying to get with somebody that's gonna blow through his money.
Right.
He want to be with somebody that's gonna be a team player, that's
Right.
gonna make that money work, that's gonna manage that money properly.
Absolutely.
You gonna buy yourself a little something, buy him a little something, but you definitely gonna be able to manage that money and make sure everything is taken care of.
That's
A
right.
lot of the times we want stuff that we ain't capable of taking care of.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, well, you want somebody that got all of this, but what
Right. What do you bring to the table?
can you balance a checkbook?
Right. What are you contributing?
How much do you spend on gum a year?
Right. And you know what? What's crazy is that some people have different needs. Some people have different desires. So we're not implying that you have to be. If you want an educated man, that you have to have a master's or doctorate degree.
No.
We're not saying that you have to have the best job in the world. We're not saying if you're a man and a woman is aspire higher, or she's doing great things, she's a community activist, that you have to be an activist.
Right.
Or a woman that's very spiritual, that you have to be a preacher. We're not saying that. We're just saying that if you have a high demands, and if you want a particular person, and you're demanding that, and you're shunning pretty much everybody else, you need to make sure that your cards are right. You got to make sure that areas in your life is up to par, so that you can become true partners. What's that?
Tanya, you the one that's been married for 29 years. She
What she
talking about, I pray for someone over 6'3", no glasses, good provider, man who loves God. And I still wasn't specific enough. Neither mix has his height, and they both wear glasses.
Hey, but
you
29 years.
You don't always get what you want, but you make
Right.
it work, right?
You get what you need, and
You
that's
do.
the, you know what. And also, I think that it would be good for just an exercise for people that are single. Put segment or separate that list. Put wants and put needs.
Yes.
Wants, needs, and also deal breakers. What are the things that you want? Because there's nothing wrong with wanting an athletic man. Or a woman that's athletic, or
Right.
have a certain figure.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because you want them to be healthy. Now,
Right.
ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with saying, do you want a basketball player, or do you want somebody that's athletic? Do you want them to look good in a pair of sweats, and you want them to be out there working out? Or do you want an athlete because you just want to live the affluent life and you want to blow through his cash?
Right.
You don't even know what all come with that territory. You might not even be ready for that. However, you got to look and see what you really, really want.
Right, right.
What do we, like Steve said, what are your wants and what are your needs? I needed somebody to be patient with me. I needed somebody to be extra kind. I needed somebody to be loving, because sometimes I could be aggressive.
Right.
I needed that. So my list was based on more of what my needs were, not necessarily what my wants were, because I knew what I wanted. I got what I wanted before. That wasn't always good for me though, right? That didn't prove to be the greatest thing for me. However, what I needed was what was needed in my life. It was what I needed.
Right.
Like I needed somebody to be patient. I needed somebody to be kind.
Right.
I needed somebody to be thoughtful. although he wasn't the most thoughtful man in the beginning,
What?
he became that. So
You grow. You know, nobody's perfect. We're all growing, right?
Yes.
You know, and like I said, you're gonna get. Sometimes we're gonna get fixer uppers, and there aren't going to be anybody out here that's perfect. You know, so I don't want anybody to misinterpret or misunderstand what we're saying.
Right.
We're just saying that if you do have a list or demands, you want to try to go up higher. You know, you want to have something to offer. You know, you want to be able to bring something significant to the table, and not just the basics. So if you want somebody that's dynamic or that's above average, you probably want to try to come up higher. And here's the thing too about dating, or you don't wait on anybody. You know, perfect yourself. Become the best version of you, with a man or without a man. Now, we're not, and this segment isn't about you needing a person, or you got to have a man to be perfected,
That's good,
or you
Sharice.
have to
I
have a
see your
woman to be
comment.
perfected. What we're saying is that most people desire romantic relationships and want to build families.
That's right.
So while you're waiting, make sure you're decisive. You understand what you want, what you don't want, and in the process of having those desires or demands, get your life together. Like they
Yeah.
say, what does homegirl Tamar say? Says what does
What'd she say?
get your life? Yeah,
get your life.
Get your life. You know,
Get your
so
life.
we want to come up
Men,
higher, right?
Men, get your life.
Get your life,
Get your life and stop thinking that you the perfect catch. Cause you ain't.
right?
I hate to tell you, but you ain't.
Right,
Everything about you ain't good.
right,
Like, so come up.
right,
Come up. Like, and that's okay. Somebody need to tell you, because your mama may not have.
right,
Somebody need to tell you to come up a little bit. Like, take
Right.
it seriously.
right.
You got somebody that you love and they love you and you want to see it work. Take it seriously.
Yeah.
Come up a level.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It sucks to be a failure. It really sucks to be a failure. You know what I'm saying? So come up
Yeah.
and meet the need.
Right.
Meet the need, because that's what sustains the family.
right. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Looking more toward the future, because you need to be a whole person. And that's what people need to understand. And I know old school or old school relationships was pretty much like, you know, the man, he goes out, he get the bacon, bring it home to the wife, and she cooks it. But now we're in a different society. We're in a different
Yeah.
modern time. And now it's important. It's almost like you can't survive without two people being educated,
Yeah.
or people
Or without two people working.
Or working,
two
right?
Two people
Right.
getting their hands dirty. You
Right.
can't survive. It's very hard to survive. Listen, I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 and a half years. We made it. It was tough some of those years, but we made it. Not to say that you can't make it, but it's very, very tough
Right.
to make it. When it's tough mentally, it's tough sometimes financially. 'Cause it wasn't a strain financially for us through those later years, but in the beginning it was sort of a strain in the beginning. But it takes two people that's both willing to put their hands in it and get them dirty.
Right.
Not one saying like, I do this, like, and this is what it is. This is all I got to give. Like, no, you got to give a little bit more. You're going to have to work a little bit harder. You're going to have to not just pay the bills, but pay more attention.
Right, right. And we have
You
so
know?
many, and forgive us if we can't get to all of the questions, because
Sorry,
you
y'all.
guys are giving some amazing.
I go off on tyrants.
Amazing. No, babe, this is
Sorry.
good. No, this is they ain't paying us for this.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
They ain't pay me. I
I'm
ain't see no
sorry.
cash apps. I ain't see no money coming to my cash app. So, babe, you can talk as much as you want.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And
think- there you
yes,
go, there you go.
Sharice, communication is key. Like, communication. Because we go into things, right, not knowing what the other person thinks.
Right,
All we know is our list.
right. We talked
We
about
ain't had a clue.
relationship readiness last.
Yeah, we did.
And we discovered that one of the most powerful or the most important things you can know about the person that you're about to commit yourself to is the way that they think.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know how that person's psychology is.
Mm-hmm.
What do they think about marriage? What do they think about you? What do they think about themselves?
Mm-hmm.
What do they think about children? What do they think about conflict? What do they think about altercations? You know, what do they think about a lot of
Yes.
things? So we talked about that last
And
week.
believe people when they tell you who they are.
Yes.
Like, don't, ladies, because we do this all the time. We be giving people extra chances and stuff. Like, when somebody tell you they a low down, dirty dog, they probably cheated in their last 5 relationships. Like, you just got to believe that fool is a cheater. Okay? You just got to believe it. You ain't nothing special about your cat that ain't gonna make him cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't something you need to conquer. It ain't something you need to try to get yourself all wound up in. Like, believe it when you see it. Like, if somebody telling you who they are, believe the hand. Don't be like, oh, he fooled me. He ain't fool you. He told you.
Right.
You just took the chance.
Right.
And then you got burned. Like, so you got to start paying attention. Like, pay close attention. Because people, man, my brothers used to tell me this all the time. First of all, they used to make me pick up the phone and listen to their conversations when they would talk to girls. But they would always be like, listen, people going to tell you who they are. Mm-hmm. You ain't even got to worry about trying to figure it out. A liar going to tell you they a liar. They're going to tell you that they lied about something else, or they lied on somebody else, or they lied to somebody else. Mm-hmm. A cheater going to tell you they a cheater. They're going to tell you they cheated on somebody. Mm-hmm. They cheated with somebody. You know what I'm saying? They cheated in a game. They're going to tell you.
Right. But
like, people going to tell you who they are. It's your responsibility to believe them when they tell you.
But that's why patience is key, because everything is exposed through time. You know, you know where the cracks are. You can pour water into a glass, and you may not immediately see that crack in it.
That's true.
You know, and but if you look closely, you'll see that there's a little crack, and it begins to leak. Mm-hmm. So that's why patience is very important in the relationship. Although I didn't abide by that many times, you know, but as you get older, you get wiser.
Yes.
You know, so each one teach one. Mm-hmm. You know, and from my mistakes, from rushing and doing things before time, you know, you find yourself in hard places to where you could have avoided certain things, but because you rushed.
Right.
So in relationships, you know, that's why I don't believe in, particularly it's just me, I don't believe in love at first sight. Even if you feel that you love somebody, I believe you should give it time to see who that person truly is.
Yeah.
Because love is the decision, which we discovered and we talked about last week. Because I'm not saying that love isn't an inner revelation, because it is. It's something invisible, something really unexplainable. However, time, I believe that you cannot, here we go, babe. Here's something that I believe is important.
Go ahead.
You can't choose who you fall in love with, but you can choose who you be with.
Yes.
You can choose who you be with.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to let go of the people that you love, because somebody had put something up here about.
Danielle made a good comment. She said, depending on what age you are, sometimes you might be too old and been through too much to wait on someone to reach their potential.
Yes.
So true. We talked about that last week when I said, ladies, stop marrying potential.
Yeah.
Like, stop getting in bed with potential. Like, we don't have, some of us don't have time for potential. We didn't already been there and done that.
Right.
But
how long is it going to take for this rap game to take off?
How long? How long?
You 45, bro. They don't even rap like that.
How
no
long?
More.
How long?
There were a lot of them. Reva said that science fair projects versus a fixer-upper.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's a huge difference.
There is a huge difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yes.
Everybody is a fixer-upper. Everybody has areas where we can come up.
Absolutely.
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? Everybody. And if you say you don't, something wrong with you. I'm married and I still have areas where I need to come up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I could be a little bit more kind. My tone can be a little bit more softer. You know what I mean? I can love a little bit harder. There's so many areas I can
you
come.
Do be tripping.
I be tripping sometimes.
I'm teasing.
That ain't y'all business.
I got a wonderful wife, y'all.
This my business. That's your. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But it's so many areas where we all can come up in. It's not a him versus her. It's just like Danielle just said. Like, sometimes we too old for that. You know, and sometimes you got to move past that. Listen, if they not that, if they not it, they just not it. Don't waste your time. Move on. While we still having conversations or going on dates with people we know ain't the catch. What we wasting our time for?
Turning our wheels
that don't
on
even
a hamster
make sense.
wheel, just thinking we going somewhere. Like the hamster, you ever seen a hamster on a hamster wheel?
It makes
and they
no
just
sense.
get it. They just burning all that energy, all that steam, working harder and harder and harder.
Makes no
but ain't
sense.
going nowhere. And that's how it is.
And that's how we do a lot of the times. And ladies, we are so guilty of it. We give chance after chance after chance after chance. Same kind of dude. It'd be the same kind of dude packaged up a little bit differently. This one might have a haircut. This one might got some a little fro. This one might got a beard. This one, you know what I'm saying? This one might wear a little he might wear a different cologne. But it be the same kind of man. And for whatever reason, you keep on giving them the attention. Like, why are you wasting your time?
Because that list isn't prioritized. That list that we created isn't sustainable a lot of times, and it's full of vanity. And we're not thinking about our future. We're not thinking about our children, our legacy. We're not thinking about ourselves and what we're trying to build. We're not thinking about partnership. We're just thinking about those fleshly desires or things that might toot our horn, if you will, or things that'll quench our thirst, but it isn't water.
Yeah.
It's like you need water. A Pepsi isn't going to help you when you're dehydrated. It's just going to make you more dehydrated.
Just going to make you more thirsty.
So you need, exactly. So you need that water. You need substance.
Yeah.
So when we are trying to choose, we want substance. So ladies, look, don't settle, demand that this person have, like we talked about potential. Some people do have potential but it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a brave woman to go ahead and love that man to the place that he need to be. So I'm not saying don't marry potential, because there are a lot of good men.
Yeah.
And
no, you just have to know.
Yes.
It's beyond potential, because Steve had potential.
Right.
I saw his potential, but I saw past his potential. I said he has the potential to be somebody great.
Right.
But will he be somebody great? Can I help him be somebody great?
Right.
It was beyond seeing him. Oh, he got the potential. He can do. No.
Right.
Because everybody has potential. Hell, if I go out there and try to jump what's them little things called out there on the track, I could try to go out there and jump it. I got the potential to cross it. But can I actually do? Will I actually do it?
Yeah, and it's like you shouldn't be with a man that has a potential to work.
Everybody has that potential.
He has the potential.
Everybody.
Like, no, he want to show some, and two, I don't want to get into this deep, but you do want, if you are connecting with potential, you want to see progress. So if you are gambling, because to be honest, marriage is you're taking a risk. You're taking a risk, and you're saying, I do to this person. And you're committing to the invisible. Although you do love that person, but you are taking a risk. You're taking a gamble.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Jeremiah said, don't choose when you're thirsty. We're going to pause on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't choose when you're thirsty.
Right. Because you drink from anybody's cup.
Anybody's cup.
Anybody's cup.
You will take anybody's mess.
Right.
When we feeling lonely, when we feeling like, man, I just want somebody. I just got to get into something. You going to take anything.
Yeah.
That we need to pause on that one.
Especially women, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because there is, particularly in the black community. Now we're at a time to where, and I don't want to get into a polygamy or polygamy and all that stuff, but a lot of that stuff is driven by insecurity and low self-esteem. And because there is a shortage of our men, a lot of women get desperate and they begin to settle because either men or black men in particular, a lot of them are in jail, or they might be, they might be homosexuals or whatever they declare to be, so there is a shortage of men, and a lot of women.
Or you don't feel worthy of somebody being with you.
Right.
Or you don't feel like somebody can just be with you.
Right. And Dad said these things should apply to men looking for a good woman also.
Oh,
absolutely.
They do. It's a double-edged sword. It does. It goes for both parties.
Right.
Men and women.
Right.
Like, men can't be out here thinking that, I'm just going to marry this. This is what it's going to always be. This is what she's going to always look like, Because one day she going to get old. Them titties going to sag.
Ooh.
That butt going to hang to the floor.
Get a little X-rated.
That's
after 12, yo.
I'm just saying. That's
Cash at me.
That's what they be marrying. And they'd be like, oh, wow. But you forgot she dumb.
Yeah. Eugene
she
said
ain't got nothing to offer you.
Right. Eugene said, don't go to the grocery store hungry.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Reva says, you can have potential, but there must be drive behind it. Yes, absolutely. And we need to see some evidence. That's the thing. Like, we need to see some type of evidence.
Yeah.
I believe that if you are dating somebody, or if you're engaged with somebody or engaged to somebody, that you need to see some type of proof.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like, you need to see, if somebody say that they love you, you need to see that they love you. You need to see some deeds.
Actions behind it.
So
Yeah.
So potential just can't be a look or a thought. You have to actually have to see.
Like, he got potential. Like, what he doing? If he laying on your couch all day, he ain't got potential.
Right.
I'm sorry. He don't. If you leave and go to work and he's still chilling, he ain't got potential. He got the potential to sit right there on that couch and wait until you get back home for you to cook, for you to clean, and for you to please.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So stop tricking yourself.
Yeah.
To say that I got somebody in the house, because you don't.
Right.
You doing it by yourself.
Right.
Same thing with a man. Same thing. Like, just because she look good. Like, stop falling for it, fellas. It's more than that. And you want more than that.
Right.
You don't just want somebody who just look good. Yeah, it looks good when you take her in front of your friends. But when she got to open up 40, her mouth.
45, older, that stuff ain't going to matter. When you get 60, 70.
When she got to open up her mouth at your company Christmas party, and she say, like, where that folk at? Well, we ain't have... You gonna look retarded. I'm sorry, wrong word. You gonna look crazy.
Right.
Like, so, like, you have to think beyond those things. We all have to think beyond those things, seriously, because it's more to it than just the outward appearance or the thought that they got potential.
Right. Yeah. And that's a whole, we can dig into that. It's, and guys, we thank you for your patience, because we just two people trying to just figure this thing out as we go, trying to share some advice. And no, I'm talking about just overall. We know that we have a desire to help people. We don't have all the answers. And as we communicate, and teach or preach or whatever you want to proclaim or whatever you want to say, it brings us up to another level. We learn from you guys. So whatever we've acquired or the knowledge or experiences that we've been through or what we're going through, we want to bring them so that we all can be better. So we hope that you guys are benefiting from this. I can't really, because we're trying our best. And Danielle, thank you for coming. Danielle said this date night is a blast.
Hey,
thanks,
Danielle.
guys.
Is that Danny? Is that Danny,
No,
Danielle?
Danielle North.
Oh, Danielle North. Hey,
yes,
Danny.
thank y'all for coming.
Listen, Najma said, then we must ask ourselves, what are we attracting, and why do we continue to attract the same kind of men and women?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can we get into the, because people have this list,
yeah.
But you need to ask yourself, like, will you if you were on the opposite side, would you marry you?
If that mirror was, if you were holding that mirror and you looked in it, like, would you marry me?
Right. We're going to go into some house. We want to go into some. Yeah, we want to break down a few things.
Okay.
Things here. But like here we have, babe. We talked about before a person getting in a relationship, it's important that you become the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem, people do. We lose ourselves going after somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
We put a lot of energy in finding that special someone, an effort to where we forget who we are.
Yep.
We forget who God created us to be. We forget our desires, our dreams, because we're so caught up, running after people or running after something that we think that's going to give us true identity.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, you have to find identity before you get with that person.
Ooh,
don't wait to get a degree until you find that man, or don't wait to buy your house waiting on that man, or don't wait to do certain things to wait on that woman. No, bro, you learn how to cook. You go ahead and get your education. You aspire higher. You start that business. You prepare. So while you're waiting, we want to make sure that we're becoming the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
So how do we do that? How do we become the best version of ourselves? So we want to give you guys a few tips, if you will. Number one, we need to examine ourselves.
My dad talk about that food gonna be cold as hell.
Right, and it's good too. She be clowning me, Dad. Like when I'm eating,
he be
when I'm eating, like
Dad,
on the show, she's
Dad.
like, "You really eating?" Like, yeah, this ain't a prop to me. Like, this is really food.
He be smacking. It's not that he be eating. He be smacking. He be like, and then he can't talk.
Right.
Now everybody know I'm just the chimer. I'm just chiming in. Okay, this man,
Bro,
don't smack. He talking about when I be moving the table and it be going out of focus, but he be smacking all on the. Like, we know it's good. Mm-hmm. Oh, anyway.
Yep.
So, Christopher, I thought hell was hot, Uncle T. Oh, Mom. Hey, Mom. I have the best parents in the world, you guys. I just want to say that.
Now you about to.
I know everybody thinks they have the best parents in the world, but I'm gonna tell y'all don't. I'm joking. Y'all do. I have the best parents in the world for me.
Love you too, June.
They are amazing.
Let's get into
Hey, Junie B.
Can we get into some practicality or some practical steps or things that people can think about? Because we don't.
Uncle Charlie said, "Help him with a bottle of wine." Uncle Charlie,
I got you.
You must have came in late.
I got you.
We got you. I tell
She's
you.
the wine. Whatever what do you call it? Connoisseur.
Whatever you would
you
like, just tell me what your palate is, and I tell you where to go get.
She got you. Yo, what's up? Dino's in the building. Dino.
Hey. Hey, Parker.
Hey, but let's go into some practical steps.
Okay.
Number one, how do you become the best version of yourself? Number one, you need to examine yourself. Because when you look in the mirror, there's a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So, and looking in the mirror can be a scary thing. And looking in the mirror and really acknowledging or really seeing who you are, it humbles you.
It does.
Because you ain't as pretty as you might have thought.
Mm-mm.
And like, give an example of how, getting ready for the night and different things like that. And
Oh, no. Steve showed y'all last week what I look like, and y'all should already know. But it ain't as pretty as it always comes across, right? It looks really nice on this side, right? It probably looked really nice when you saw her, right? But you didn't know that she spent an hour and a half in the bathroom getting herself together. You didn't know that that she got these dark circles around her eyes, and this is all concealer patting this in so that you can't see that. You ain't know, you know what I mean? You didn't know that she got blemishes all over her face, or that she got 3 stomachs. Cause listen, I had 3 C-sections. I definitely have 3 stomachs. Okay. And I probably have on 2 pair of Spanx every single time you see me. So it ain't always what it appears to be. And we have to look beyond that. We just got to dig a little bit deeper. That's all.
Right. And we want to look in the mirror because what you see isn't what you always get,
It's
right?
not.
And there's a quote that says this, that mirrors shows what you look like, but not who you really are.
That's good.
See, a lot of times, even when we're creating that list of demands and the things that we desire,
That's good.
while we're doing that, look ourselves in the mirror. And I'm not talking about how you look externally, but I'm talking about looking deep inside, and asking yourself the hard questions, like, how am I? How is my attitude? How is my demeanor? How is my educational level? How is my health? What are some of the things that I need to change? What
How's my posture?
Yes. Yes.
Ladies, gentlemen, our posture speaks a lot about how we feel about ourselves and how we handle ourselves. You might not know it, but somebody can look at you and you can be slouched over and they be like, oh, insecure, don't care. Like, so sit up, posture yourself upright, like pay attention to your body language. Because a lot of times our body language speaks before we ever utter a word. So we have to pay attention to those things because they're important. They're equally as important as what we see.
Right. And I'm thinking, I don't want to say principles, but like pillars in our relationship, like really look deep, to see the things that you need to change, so in order to become better, we have to answer those hard questions. Am I like this? What areas do I need to grow? What areas do I need to heal? What do I need to let go of? Who do I need to let go of to position me properly so that I can be available, emotionally available, whatever it might be for that particular man or that woman. So we need to ask those questions. So we need to examine, like who we are. We got to be humble and be like, really look ourselves in the mirror, and we're going to see a reflection. And like we said, not the external reflection, because we can dress that up. Like a lot of women, like you said earlier, with those Spanx and all that, smoothing everything out.
Boy, she take them Spanx off and it be like, brr, 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 brr.
Right. Right. And think about it.
All them stomachs come out. You wasn't expecting none of that. You wasn't expecting none of that. You wasn't expecting to pull that dress up and to be some granny panties underneath there. You wasn't expecting that.
Right. Or even a man, we dress ourselves up, with the nicest cars. We flash our money. We hide behind our ego and our guns, but we got to ask ourselves, who are we? What are some things that we need to change?
Right.
Because a lot of times, men growing up, we feel that we have to be hard externally. We have to have a certain swag, or we have to have a certain persona. But a lot of times that hurt us.
Yep.
It protects us. It has its place. Don't get me wrong, because we shouldn't break, or you shouldn't be able to see our scars, as much as we see yours. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't need you to be hard at home. I don't.
Right.
I don't need you to be hard at home. I don't need you to be angry at home. I don't need you to be hostile at home. I don't need you to raise your voice at home. I don't need you to do any of those things at home. I need you to calm down a little bit at home. Like, relax and take it easy at home.
Right. Bonnie said,
you ain't got nothing to prove at home.
Right. Bonnie said masks are real. So yeah, so we want to
Yes.
examine ourselves, and we're gonna go a little fast with these so we can let you guys go and do nothing because you ain't got nowhere to go. So we want to examine. We want to look ourselves in the mirror, right? You know, to become the best version of ourselves. And if we don't like what we see, we need to accept what we see and also make the adjustments.
Yes, very
So
much
we
so.
need to accept. You know, like if we angry, y'all. You know, we got to say, you know what? I'm angry.
Yep.
You know, I've been through this. You know, I know that I respond emotionally all the time, or I'm not as smart as I should be. You know, I'm desiring this type of woman, but I really can't take care of her because my work ethic isn't up to par. You know, I want to be a wife, you know, but really I'm not preparing myself for the marriage, just the wedding. You know, I know that my man want me to do certain things, or he has a certain list, and I'm not really trying to come up in that area. You know, so we want to accept our inadequacies. We want to accept our blind spots, accept the areas that we need to grow, but not just stay there and be content. We want to make the proper adjustments so that we could have what we deserve. And ultimately, you want to be happy. You know, and a lot of people out here play these games. Like I made a quote on social media, you know, it's corny when you see married folks together. It's corny when you see family. You know, you don't wanna encourage them. You don't want to share their posts.
Right.
You don't wanna support them. But until you know trouble hits, or until you need mama and daddy, you know, that's when it's important. That's when family is
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
You know, when our world is upside down.
Yeah.
When you realize you're crying because you don't have a daddy.
Yeah.
You realize you don't have a mama. But it's corny and it's funny when you're on social media. It's
Yeah.
corny
when you
and
looking
it's
at
funny.
everybody else like,
Yes.
oh, they cornballs.
Yes.
No. You wish you had somebody to lay down next
That's
to at
yeah,
night.
absolutely.
You wish you had somebody to
Absolutely.
stroke your ego when you needed it stroked. You wish you
Right.
had somebody that cared for your behind.
Right.
You don't want to be no dog.
Right.
Who wants to be that?
Right.
Everybody wants to
Right.
be desired by somebody. Everybody wants to be sincerely loved by
Right.
somebody.
Absolutely.
You can be liked by a whole bunch of people, but you want to be loved by one.
I wanna be the one to hold you close, 'cause you're the only one I'm